Uh, what I want to talk about here, I don't know if you'll hear this, but I just wanna see your perspective. This is is our entertaining segment of keep it real, ladies
Keep
and
it
gentlemen. In
real.
Heart of the Matter has
Yes.
this segment where we keep it real with the reels that we send each other across the week. And there's a reel here, team. I just want you to listen to it. I don't know if you'll be able to listen. I don't know if it will be audible enough, but I wanna see your perspective on this. Uh, I hope you'll be able to hear this. I'll try blast it all the way so that our viewers listen.
To update his beneficiary is costing his family about $1 million. A legal battle is over. The mistake is happening in Pennsylvania. Jeffrey Rollison is leaving behind nearly $1 million in his retirement plan. He left it to Margaret Losinger, a woman he dated 34 years ago. Just dated. Back then, he named her as the sole beneficiary on a handwritten form. He never updated that form after they broke up. And now he's set to inherit, or she's rather set to inherit the money, much to the dismay of Rollison's family. Rollison's brothers are now fighting the claim in court. Joining us to talk about it,
Let me just break that down to you. This guy by the name
Yes.
Jeffrey Rollison. You know, when love is new and love is sweet, and it is when you're just starting to date, you want to put your girlfriend or your sweet moa on everything. And so when he was just 26,
Even in front
he
of your
wrote,
gate.
yes, or you, that's when people tattoo. And I don't know if you can tattoo your girlfriend, you you know what I'm talking about, your lover's name on your neck
Yes.
or on your forehead. I see people do crazy stuff. So this guy put the then girlfriend as the beneficiary. And he forgot. And he worked, and even retired. And his 401k, I think, accumulated to 1 million USD. But now, after he passed on and the family knew about this, they were like, oh, he has died, may he rest in peace, but we are rich. And when they went to claim, they were told,
Shock on them.
I am sorry, but you cannot claim this money because your son has never updated the beneficiary. So the girl that he dated back then in high school or college is still the beneficiary, and only she, and this is the law, only she can claim can claim this 1 million US dollars. What's your take, and how will you handle this, Chief?
My friend.
Mm-hmm.
Never mess with the law.
Okay.
Never mess with the law, because anything there's verbal contract, there's physical written contract. And that's what we sometimes don't understand, that our words, everything we pen down, are binding to what we commit to. So this guy committed his beneficiary to somebody he was dating, because this person was dishing him and gifting him in ways nobody has ever gifted him at that time.
Yes.
Now, he got confused. He got confused with the gifting
Yeah.
and decided to reward the giftee his own 401k beneficiary. And he went ahead and forgot. And this is also another thing that people need to understand. If you're listening to Heart of the Matter podcast today, I want to advise you. If you so think that you have something that you need your future generation to inherit, because everywhere you go, there's that somewhere you will fill a form of next of kin.
Yes.
So be careful. Have an attorney to advise you. This is something I would really encourage anybody listening to always have an attorney a phone call away. That any transition you're doing in this life, the attorney can go through your, everything. Even if you own a blanket, just go through your inventory to see who is the next of kin, so that you don't fall into this. Because the law doesn't care whether you guys were dating, so long as it is written there that you are the beneficiary, whether you're married legally or not. The binding thing to this, the binding contract to this lady being a beneficiary, she was listed as the next of kin. Now, you and I know that nothing in this life is permanent, not even life itself.
Mhm.
And that's why most people prefer that they give it to their kids once they start their families. But be it as it may, that you decide to give you gift the gifter who is gifting you gifts that you've never been gifted before. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And then you decide you want to, reward your girlfriend or your boyfriend.
Yes.
When that relationship ends, update. The same way you've updated your relationship status, update everything that relationship that was, that was associated with that relationship. But above and beyond, I mean, it's unfortunate for the family that they're in this conundrum, and this is a tough call. This is a hard shot for them to win. This is
No, but
my advice to the family: look for that girlfriend,
and talk to her.
and talk to her. Sign a contract. We just want a percentage.
Let me ask you a
Yes.
question. You are just, let's say you're the girlfriend, you're somewhere out in the woods, and this is a question to all the girls out there. You broke up with somebody years ago, and you just get a phone call from one lawyer who says, hey, the boy you dated like 55 years ago has passed on, but you are still the beneficiary of this $1 million. You've not spoken or talked or even thought about this guy for 55 years. Are you going to claim it? Because somebody just forgot to update? Or will you just say, hey, give it to the family, I don't deserve that? We've not been in contact.
That's why the current generation, their first reaction will be, oh, Aki was that sweet. that will be their first reaction. But anyway, that's why I'm saying the family should look for this girl. This girl might be a Beyonce who doesn't need the $1 million. So their hands is in the hands of this lady who we don't know what she's doing. Is she well off, or she's struggling? If she's
nobody
struggling,
knows.
you already know the answer.
Yeah, so unless maybe, God forbid, she passed on, that's when maybe the case might be otherwise. However, let me give you my perspective.
Yes.
Chief, for you to accumulate $1 million in retirement, that means you've been working for ages. And we'll get to a topic about that in a few. So,
And you've been working hard.
yeah, probably this guy was right out of campus and immediately got a job when he was with the girlfriend then. And there's this thing that happens at work, and I don't know why the government never follows up on some issues unlike other issues. So usually, I remember, even me, when I first got my first job here in the US of A, there's that question, who is your next of kin? You know, at that
question will
time,
haunt you for the rest of your life.
no, but at that time, you are naive. You are like, next of kin. You are not even thinking of death because you are a beberu. Beberu, for those who don't understand, is a young Turk, somebody who is young and agile. So, if you are asked who is your next of kin, you might even, you're a Gen you're a Gen Z. If you are asked who is your next of kin, you might even write your best friend as next of kin. Because you're not thinking of like, because you think, after 5 years, I'm planning to leave this job and go to a different one or something like that, or start my own business. But apparently, so this guy at that time, 26 years of age, He believes 100% that this is the love of his life. And so he says, oh, next of kin, put Margaret. I think the name was Margaret. Yes. And Margaret was written down. And relationship, girlfriend. Okay, done. But the government will never check up on you. You know how they check up on you on your driving license? It's been 5 years. Have you updated it? It's been 3 years.
IRS.
Have you? Yeah, and IRS. It is 1 year. Have you paid your taxes? Another thing,
Yes.
the government checks up on you. Hey, it is 1 year. Are you extending your lease, or are you staying? You know, in Africa, when we used to live back in Africa, once you rent a house, nobody will ask you, are you planning to live next year? No, you could live there for 50 years. As long as you're paying rent on time, nobody cares.
Yeah.
But here, they look at, after every 1 year, why is there nobody to come and say, hey, even the company itself would have called this guy and said, hey, it's been 3 years, is this still your next of kin? Those are topics where your supervisor, when you have that annual meeting or month or a meeting every 3 months, you should discuss. And again, when we come to the side of the law, man, I think this is when the law should be bent a little. Of which the law, usually they say you can't bend the law. But in this scenario, my friend, if there is listen, there is proof. Margaret is married somewhere else, I'm certain. There is proof there is no contact with this guy at all for like the past 10 plus years. Why would you still want to gift someone who doesn't even know about it? And definitely, if I'm a chiquitita and you've just called me when I'm in my downtime, I'm broke, I'm working 8 to 5, and you tell me, hey, there's $1 million for you to claim, or else we can give it to family. I told you in the last, keep it real. I'm taking the money. I'm going with it.
Yeah, you're going with it. I wouldn't blame you. And let me be honest with you. You can't say we bend the rule on this one. The reason why we are not bending the rule, there are people who've left their inheritance for strangers and not their family members. The reason as to why you provide next of kin is in the event that you're not there, nobody is there to discuss it, discuss it on your behalf. People discuss it on your behalf. You're not there to advocate for yourself. So they're going by what's on record. And that's why I say that. That's why I started by saying there are two binding contracts, verbal and written. And in this case, we have a written contract. Whether Margaret has been married for 50 years, the government does not care. In this juncture, the government assumes that you are not in good terms with your family. And you decided to reward Margaret because you still, after 50 years, you haven't moved on how she used to gift you. You feel me? So at the end of the day, and that's why I say sometimes, and these are the things, like you say, you've raised pertinent issues. Nobody will come and remind you, update your next of kin, because that benefits you and benefits them, not the government. The government will remind you of what benefits them. Have you paid your taxes? Yeah. You need to renew your driver's license because you're going to pay for it. At the end of the day, they want what benefits them. And what benefits you and your family, that is you to always remember. So if you get to that stage where you now, I would just advise you, look for an attorney and keep updating your status everywhere. Every step in life you make, update that status. Otherwise,
let's update our status. Yeah, yes. I agree. Let's update our status, ladies and gentlemen, because hey, it's tough out here. Talking of contract, so there was this. It's another reel that was making rounds. I'll look for it here in a sec so that you can tell me what you think. But number one, the first one is not a reel. It's actually a post where somebody. Not somebody, but I think it was McDonald's that posted that they are rewarding their long-term employees. And employees who had worked for 10 years would get a lump sum bonus of $100. And people who worked for 20 years would get a lump sum of $200. And the people who worked for 30 years would get a lump sum of $300. So you looking at it, $300 is your reward for working for 30 years. I don't know how things
And the
work.
the CEO also was also rewarded, right? If I'm not wrong, the CEO was
CEO
rewarded and he got like 30 million or something.
I bet that's how they reward the CEOs for sure. I saw the other Starbucks CEO who was trending the other day. He got like 113
Yeah.
million sign-on bonus just to accept the job. He was given 113 million. Now he wants to start, and he's working from home until his office is set up. People are having it nice, but I don't know. Is it just like that's how people should be, or are some jobs just very? Are they just taking people for granted? I'm that thing really almost it didn't sit well with me.
I think my perspective to this is that is the sad reality we are living in today. That your job don't care about you. They just care that you come there and give and fill in those positions and show up. Because even your job will be the first people to replace you even before you are married.
That's true.
This surface of ground. So we encourage people, and a lot of people. The sad reality is, at the end of the day, if you have something that you can do to make your life better, do it. If you can be innovative enough and leave your job, it's something I would encourage people to do, because at the end of the day, one, put your family first, put your health first, and put your goals first. Those three things, put them key to your heart. Because you see, these people have worked there for over 30 years. Some of them have worked for over 30 years, and they're only being awarded $300. That is $100 every 10 years. Is it worth the amount of money the guy brought back to the family? How many millions this guy brought to the business, to the company? And they're just rewarding him with $100. It's unfortunate, and it's an eye-opener, a wake-up call that our generation, and I'm glad we are in this platform where we are trying to make this, figure out what we can do so that we can be independent. We can be entrepreneurs of ourselves in this kind of platform, so that we don't depend on other people. Because tomorrow, what happens? And you know my story. I recently, had an accident, broke my ankle, and at the end of the day, my job didn't close down because I wasn't sure enough.
Yeah.
You feel me? They've never missed me, I mean, a few people check on me and ask, hey, how you doing, this and this and that. But there are people, especially in
The
those
CEO.
high-ranking positions,
The CEO has
they've
never
never
called you.
missed me. They've never missed me. They don't even feel like I was impactful. And I'm not saying that that is wrong of them. All I'm just trying to say is people always move on. And the first people who will always move on from you are your job before anybody else. Now, before you prioritize your job, prioritize your health, prioritize your
Yes.
family, prioritize your goals.
Man, you've said it so clearly, and yeah, jobs will always forget you. I know of a friend who passed on the other day. It was, I think, in the Kenyan obituaries, and like 2 days after she passed on, the job was already advertised as vacant, and they were looking for someone to replace it immediately. One thing people also must agree
Before she-
on is Yeah, before she was buried. But one thing people should agree is that the job must always go on. Work must always move
Yeah.
on. So, even if you yourself had a company and one of your employees unfortunately resigns or dies, you won't say, let's leave that position open. We will work without marketing because of ABC. Yeah. But if you think that is sad, there is a 7-Eleven employee who worked for 50 years. Guess what reward he was given?
$50 or a letter.
He was sent an email.
Oh
Which-
my God.
Yeah, an email with a thank you. With a thank you gift card. No, not a gift card. You know that e-card where it's just a thank you with the big boss's
Yeah.
picture on it? Yeah, and he was like, oh, I thought today will be